between $4 and $6 trillion. They have now decided that they want to balance the budget on the backs of the elderly and the children and the most vulnerable people in this country. They want to cut Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid.
Address the unmet needs, the long ignored needs of the working families of our country, as well as begin the process of tackling the existential threat of climate change. My guess is that at least 40 out of the 50 members of the Democratic caucus supported the $6 trillion proposal. We compromised big time. We cut that proposal, or agreed to cut that proposal, almost in half, down to $3.5 trillion. That, Mr. President, to my mind, is a major, major compromise. And as we go forward in this debate, let me be as clear as I can be as to why every penny of that $3.5 trillion is absolutely needed. And let me also make clear that this bill, despite some of the rhetoric coming from my Republican colleagues.
And she said, "Can I talk to you, Mr. She wasn't sure what to call me. I wasn't elected yet. Mr. President or Mr. Vice President." I said, "Sure, what's the matter, honey?" She said, "I want to give you something. I want to give you some bear's ears." I looked at her, and she gave me this little set of bear's ears. She said, "You gotta promise me. You gotta promise me. You'll protect the bear's ears." And I'm thinking, what the heck is it? I mean, at the time, I knew bear's ears, but I didn't quite get it. She said, her dad said, you know, a national park. I said, "Oh, yes." She said, and she went and looked, she said, "You promise? You promise?" And I promised. And it's the easiest promise that I've made in a long time. I'm grateful to the tribal nation leaders and both those who are here with us today and those who are unable to join us. Today, I'm proud to announce the protection and expansion of three of the most treasured national monuments, our most treasured. Based on powers granted to the President under the Antiquities Act, first used more than a century ago by Teddy Roosevelt. First, Bears Ears National Monument in Utah. This is the first national monument in the country to be established at the request of the federally recognized tribes, and a place of healing, as was spoken by the Secretary, a place of reverence, a sacred homeland to hundreds of generations of Native peoples. The last administration reduced the size by 85%, leaving vulnerable more than 1 million acres of cherished landscape. Today, we shall shortly be signing a proclamation to fully restore the boundaries of Bears Ears. Second, I'm restoring Utah's Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument, a place of unique and extraordinary geology as well as biodiversity. Established as a national monument 25 years ago this month. Over the last quarter century, this land has produced a significant scientific discoveries per acre than more than any other national monument, everything from fossils to ancient indigenous artifacts. Once again, the last administration cut the size of the monument nearly in half, stripping away more than 800,000 protected acres. Today, I'm signing a proclamation to restore it to its full glory. Third, off the coast of New England, I'm restoring protection of the Northeast Canyons and Seamounts Marine National Monument. Waters teeming with life, with underwater canyons as deep as parts of the Grand Canyon and underwater mountains as tall as the Appalachians. There's nothing like it in the world.
Everybody, the new child tax credit payments could lead to 1.5 million Americans leaving the workforce. And Congress may not pass the $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill ever. Everybody, this is your fourth stimulus check update and news report. And be sure to stay until the end of this video to find out the latest news. about the fourth stimulus check. Now, the expanded child tax credit has already had an impact since it began delivering monthly stimulus checks in July to families with children ages 17 and under, with an immediate reduction in hardship. But a debate is rising over President Biden's plan to extend a tax credit through 2025, with some questioning whether the payments could convince some parents to drop out of the workforce. Now, economists are pushing back on ending the federal child tax credit payments. They said that there's no evidence that the child tax credit payments have impacted work participation among parents. And the economist research comes on the heels of a suggestion from Senator Joe Manchin that the expanded tax credit could include a work requirement. Under the American Rescue Plan, the child tax credit was expanded from $2,000 per child to as much as $3,600 per child, with half the credit arriving in the form of monthly checks from July to December of 2021. Now, parents don't need to work to receive the tax credit and its monthly payments. It's an entitlement based on family income. And questions about the structure of the child tax credit are rising as lawmakers debate Biden's wide-ranging families plan, the American Families Plan that is, which would extend the expanded tax credit through 2025, because the earlier version of the child tax credit required families to have a tax liability. In other words, to earn money and owe taxes on it, to receive the full credit that provided a form of work incentive, because the prior child tax credit required that parents earn money to receive the full credit. It mainly helped families earning more than $50,000, rather than families with kids living in poverty. Anti-poverty advocates say the old child tax credit structure means that the tax credit missed the children who most needed the help, and kids whose parents had very low or no income. But economists forecast that some parents may opt out of the workforce if given ongoing payments without any strings attached, especially lower income parents. One economist said that he supports Manchin's idea of a work requirement because the old child tax credit had a strong work incentive. Now, everybody, in a recent tweet, Democratic Representative Maxine Waters, part of the influential House Financial Services Committee, said housing is everything. She wants to also see affordable housing remain a priority in the pared down Build Back Better agenda. Senate Democrats just want to see anything and make into law. They fear that failure to pass either the Build Back Better bill or a $1.2 trillion infrastructure package could indicate to the American people that Democrats are incapable of governing when in control of both the White House and both chambers of Congress. It is not lost on Democrats that they used precisely that argument to wrest the House from Republican control in the 2018 congressional midterms. Frustration has been mounting at both ends of Congress as Biden, Pelosi, and Chuck Schumer try to keep a fragile coalition from collapsing. Pelosi has also said that she would like to keep most of the programs in the Build Back Better agenda only for shorter durations. Those include an expanded child tax credit for lower prices of Medicare and subsidized child care and a raft of investments in lowering greenhouse gas emissions. A signature of his negotiating style, he has dispatched his top aides routinely to Capitol Hill to explain the particulars of his domestic agenda. So that is all the news in this fourth stimulus check update. If any of you found this video useful and helpful, then don't forget to subscribe to my channel.